learners, greetings of the day. I am your trainer Abhishek Ray. Today we are going to learn about contracts basics. The learning objective is what is a contract document. In the most simplest term, we will understand this very important document, the key components, and of course, the importance of a contract document. So, what is a contract? The simplest definition, a contract is it is a legally binding agreement between two or more parties that establishes mutual obligations and is enforceable by law. So, when I say mutual obligations, that means both the parties or all the connected parties, what are their obligations, what are their scope of work. And when I say enforceable by law, that means this document legally binds them in case of any dispute occurring between any of the parties who are in this contract, then this dispute shall be resolved by the local law or wherever the jurisdiction of law that has been agreed in the contract document. You might have heard the word purchase order. You might have heard the word work orders. If not, then I'll give you a small brief explanation. First of all, a purchase order or a work order is a contract document. A purchase order or a work order consists of all the details starting from the basics, that the price agreed, to the probably the specification of the product, to all the details are mentioned in this contract document called as purchase order or a work order. At this point of time, I will also request the students to please kindly go through some sample purchase orders or work orders, and believe me, there are many options available in the internet. This will give you a much more better and deeper learning about the importance and the concept of a contract. So now, since we have understood what is a contract, let's now look at some of the basic contract terms that are there. As I mentioned, the most basic thing available in a contract document is price. One must understand that why this contract document comes into a place. It comes into the picture because there is going to be a exchange of product against money between two or more organizations or parties. And when there is a exchange of product and money, that means of course there is a price that has been negotiated and finally agreed upon. So a contract document will primarily give the price that has been agreed for the product that will be purchased. A contract document will also underline what is the taxable amount that will be charged on that particular price. Once the price is done, then there is the next very important and a very basic part of the contract, and that is the delivery schedule. See, in the entire supply chain management, by now you must have understood that both time and money are very important, and that is where delivery schedule comes into play. Once a company will release a purchase order to an approved or identified vendor, it will only be done once the delivery schedules are decided and agreed mutually. That means it will define what is the delivery period of that product. It can be 1 month, it can be 10 days, it can be 3 months. It will all depend on the complexity and the volume of the product that the contract is being signed. So once the price and the delivery schedule has been taken care, now comes another important and another basic part of contract, and that is terms of payment, often known as TOP in the corporate jargon or the corporate linguistic, they normally say TOP, that is terms of payment. There can be some advance negotiated, there can be a contract negotiated where the entire amount will be delivered upon delivery of the product. There can be a contract document where it can suggest that the payment will be done not only upon delivery but also upon successful completion of the quality check of the product that is being dealt over here. So there can be a variety of terms of payment. It can be, just to give you an example, it can be 10% advance. That means upon receipt of 10%, this order will be considered as booked. After that, it may be that 80% of the payment will be done upon delivery. So once the delivery schedule is achieved, they will raise the invoice for the 80% of the contract amount. And then the final 10% can be upon quality check. This is just an example that I am giving you. All the terms of payments for all products will vary from company to company, will vary upon the volume of the contract that we are talking about. So terms of payments vary, but yes, the contract document will definitely specify what is the terms of payment that has been agreed. Then comes another very important part of a contract document, and that is penalties. See, a salesperson, or when a company is trying to sell its product or services, it is very obvious that they will always talk about the good points that they have. They will agree to the delivery schedule, they will agree to the quality of the product, and this is specifically with my experience, I can tell you that salespersons, they often run in a hurry to close the contract, and that is where they sometimes overcommit, and that is why penalty clause becomes very, very important. This is that clause that keeps overcommitments in check. Now let's take an example. Say the salesperson has agreed that 25 numbers of transformers will be delivered to the buying party in the next 2 months. Now you understand very well that transformer is a very important part of a project, because this will decide the incoming electricity of any particular project. So it's very easy and safe to say that a delay in the delivery of transformer means the delay in the installation of the transformer, means delay in electricity supply of to the project, and that means delay of the entire project. And that is why there has to be a penalty clause. Penalty clause as payment terms can also vary. It can be 0.01% of the contract value with some days attached to you. So if I can explain you in a very, very simple terms, once I have committed for a 60 days delivery period, but I am unable to deliver it till the 70th day. So there will be a penalty of 0.01% of the contract value for the 10 days delivery. But I still further delay, and now this delay goes to 80 days. So then again 0.01% of the another 10 days. That is a very simple example that I have given you. But yes, penalties are a very important part of a contract document. Next comes warranty. Once a product is supplied, you will not expect, you will not want to make any further financial investment in that particular product because of its failure, because of its components failure. And that is where companies offer warranties. These warranties may vary from company to company and contract to contract based on who the company is dealing with and how big the contract is. So that is warranty. The next important and a very basic part of a contract is return policy. If the product is found to be not compliant to quality, or found to be malfunctioning, or found to be not working, then there will be a period which will qualify for its return. Return policies are actually very evident and very common with products which are of high volume and small value, like your mobile phones, like your clothes, like probably food items. These normally come under return policy. When you talk about big capital equipments, there is normally no return policy. This return policy is totally ironclad and covered by the warranty policy. So these are the basics of contract terms. But as I urge students to please go through certain specimen of contract documents, and you will see a plethora of details coming out. There are force majeure clause, there are local jurisdiction clause, there are clause related to what is the scope of each other's work. So it is a vast document, and it is a legally binding document. So now we have understood what is a contract and what are the basic parts of a contract. But then the question arrives, why contract matters? I'll just give you an example. I, Abhishek Ray, tell any one of you that I will give you 100 rupees if you give me 10 pencils. Will you agree to that? Does my word matters so much? What if tomorrow, once you give me 10 pens and I give you 90 rupees, and I say I had said 90, you have heard it wrong when you say that I had said 100. You see the confusion? This was a very simple example, my dear friends. Very simple examples. 100 rupees or 10 pence does not matter that much. But when we are talking about millions and millions of dollars, that is where contract becomes very important. That is where business does not happen just on word of mouth or a mutual discussion between two parties. That means a contract, it is very safe to say, it protects both the parties' interests. Yes, you heard it right. Protect both the parties' interest. See, I might be a seller, but if I produce some product for you based on your commitment that you will procure it from me, and I send it to you after a lot of manpower, lot of material investment done from my part, and then you say that no, this contract is null and void because I am not in requirement of this product because of dash 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 reason. Who is in the loss? It is the seller who is in the loss. Now let's see the other part. A seller agrees to provide 100 transformers in the next 6 months. 6 months go by, 8 months go by, and the seller is unable to provide the transformers. Who is in the loss? That is why contract matters. Contract protects both parties. Contracts also defines responsibilities. See, in the previous discussion that I was having, I spoke about price, I spoke about terms of payment, I spoke about delivery period, I spoke about any kind of contractual liability in terms of delay in delivery. But then what about responsibilities? Who will take care of the logistics? That is a responsibility. Contract defines that. Who will take care of the unloading of a material? Contract defines that. Contract also reduces disputes, because once it is agreed, once it is put in a legally binding document, it is not possible for a party to dispute the terms and conditions later on, because a contract has been agreed, mutually discussed, mutually negotiated, and signed and sealed by both the parties. And that is how it becomes a legally binding document. I'll just give you an example which is very close to the industry that I have belonged to, and I'll give you an example of how contract matters. Consider you are building your own home, and over there you require an elevator or a lift, and you give the order for the elevator to me. That is where contract becomes very important, because the contract will suggest what is the price that you have agreed to purchase the lift from me. The contract will define what are the taxes. The contract will define what is the specification of an elevator. Every lift will be different in every different building. Yours might be a 4-storied building. And that is where we have agreed to provide you a lift that caters to 4 stories. So that is specification. You might have asked for some kind of special finishes in the elevator. That will be part of the contract. Then there will be a delivery time period. There will be a time period fixed till the time this price is valid. Today you place an order and you do not take the elevator from me for the next 3 years does not help me, because prices always keep on increasing. So the price that I've agreed today will not be the price that I'm selling after 3 years. So there is a time period that is decided in the contract mutually. An elevator requires a lot of civil construction part. That is responsibility. That is ideally the responsibility of the customer, in this case you, because it is your building. So all the civil part is your responsibility. Finally, it will also suggest what is the warranty and the guarantee that I am giving you in this particular elevator contract. So you can see very well that when all these things are incorporated in a contract document, life in business becomes a little bit easy. A contract is like a written promise, not a verbal promise. I can verbally promise you of many things, but that doesn't stand until and unless I give it to you in writing. And contract is like a written promise. When you rent a house, you sign an agreement. Why? Because you are allowing someone to come and stay in your premises. What if they do not pay the rent? What if they damage your house? And that is where agreement plays a very important role. In companies, procurement teams, which are part of supply chain management team, sign agreements with suppliers to avoid confusion and ensure everyone follows the terms agreed mutually. Finally, in nutshell, if we summarize this session, we have learned about what is a contract, what is its importance in business, a clear understanding on how what basic points are covered in a contract. I hope this session would be fruitful for you. Let's meet in the next session. Till then, happy learning.